Nice to meet you guys. How's the tour gone so far then?
It's been a bit of a logistical nightmare, but luckily we've got Josh on side, who's sort of a really good tour manager. He's getting everything sorted out. So, but yeah, loads of shit's happened with the van, and we've lost keys, and our luggage is in the back of it still. So we're sort of without clothes and toiletries and stuff. So there's been a few trips to Boots and that kind of thing. But aside from that, good shows and good crowds. So we get
at least there's some good points for the tour. You recently released your new album. And so it came to pass back in February. What was the writing like? What was the highlights and downsides of the writing recording process for it?
I think in terms of writing, we're always quite happy with the writing process. It takes us an awfully long time. So we can spend up to like 2 months on one song and then scrap half of it and start that bit again. We sort of don't really finish anything until we're all 100% happy with it.
Yeah.
So it can take quite a long time, but it doesn't mean that we're always 100% happy with the end result.
Yeah.
Recording.
Yeah, recording was fine. Yeah, we've guy we worked with, the producer, he's really switched on, so he's always focusing on what we need and what we sort of the sounds we want. He's sort of quite clued in with the sort of sound we're going for, so he made it really smooth and really happy with the finished result.
Makes it really relaxed as well. Chris, he's an awesome bloke.
That's good to hear. What would you say were the biggest lyrical and musical influences behind the album then?
Musical influences, I'd say bands like Dying Fetus, Misery Index, and then stuff that we got into when we were getting into metal, like Pantera, stuff like that, for the groove, that sort of thing. But lyrically, Matt and Henry write most of the lyrics, so I'll be able to say more about that.
So more sort of day-to-day life sort of stuff, especially in terms of Henry likes to write that kind of thing.
Just everyday things that sort of piss you off.
Yeah, we quite like to tie that sort of thing in with epic, sort of mythological stories and biblical stories as well. So sort of, you can relate.
Oh, my favourite type then.
Try to make it too literal.
Yeah, you can sort of relate, most modern day situations and that kind of thing to, ancient, civilizations. We've got a song on the new album, which is in fact the front cover art as well.
Yeah.
It's based on all the floods happening in the last few years. It's sort of based around we've directly related that to the sinking of Atlantis, the sort of ancient city. So just epic sort of mythological themes really.
Well, it's good to see bands focusing more on that rather than sort of like murder and rape, a lot of the European bands seem to be doing.
Can't really relate to that, to be honest.
That's got to be the concern.
And then there's also only so many ways that you can kill someone, so you sort of run out of things pretty quickly.
What would you say have been the best and worst shows you've played so far? Like in general, not just on a specific tour or anything.
Oh well, Neurotic Death Fest was ridiculous. That was totally awesome. We were sort of half expecting it to be quite quiet. We were headlining the third stage, just before Suffocation came on the main stage. So we thought we might have quite a quiet crowd, but actually it was totally packed out and amazingly good crowd and did loads of merch and stuff. So the crowd was awesome. He had a great time. Worst shows.
Worst shows, well. I haven't played a really bad show for a while. Probably when we first sort of started out, first getting into it, sort of play really shit shows and stuff like that. But
it's like 15 people,
it's usually the case with any band that starts out there.
Everyone has to go through it at some point.
Of recent times, most of the shows seem to be pretty good. I'm not saying that put in hundreds of people.
But these crowds react and people that even if it's just a few people that do come down, as long as they're into the music and they have a good time, we can feed off any sort of crowd as long as they're enjoying it. It's always a good show.
That's good to hear. What's the meaning behind the band name Dyscarnate then?
Well, we used to be called Incarnate, which was sort of like obviously a manifestation, but we found there were about 1 million bands called that when we first joined up to MySpace years ago.
So we Christ, that must be a nightmare.
Make a gigantic leap to Dyscarnate instead. Dyscarnate with an I would mean sort of the inverse of incarnate, so the inverse to take human form. Whereas Dyscarnate, DYS, is sort of means bad. So it's almost like a bad manifestation. We sort of go by, it's like a bad humanity. So it's sort of like, just a reflection of, the state of the world and humanity today.
You guys have been around for like good 9-10 years now. How would you compare the metal scene today compared to when you first started out?
Well, I'd say we haven't really been around for sort of like 5 or 6 years probably, sort of properly as this band, but we've all been involved in the metal scene for a long time, sort of just coming to gigs and stuff, so it's had its ups and downs, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think when we first sort of got into metal, sort of early 2000s, going to gigs and stuff, it seemed that they were a lot busier, a lot of people going out to shows, especially in London where we would go to gigs, and sort of recently. Today, so some gigs seem to be a lot quieter than others. I don't know if people just
rather sit at home and go on the internet and listen to it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So you get too many internet warriors these days who are just sort of worried about what people are wearing or what sort of what sort of band shirt you've got on or something like that. It's, it's just a bit boring, really.
Yeah, then the really stupid arguments as well. Oh yeah, like if a band sounds like this band, if a band sounds like some other band,
totally,
just come out with, just basically pull conclusions out their asses, really.
Yeah, totally. Or people sort of lumping bands in certain genres, and then not liking it because they think it's of a certain genre, which is just mental,
Reading too much now.
Yeah, it's just shut up and have a beer and come down to the show.
I forgot what I was going to ask. That's it. How would you describe your music in 5 or less words?
Fucking heavy shit.
Yeah. You can tell why he writes the lyrics.
I'm brain to be honest.
Probably along those lines, to be honest.
Are there any bands you'd like to tour with in the future?
Loads really. I mean, bands that we sort of get inspired us to write the music we write, Diaphetus,
Misery Index,
Origin, Demoth, bands like that really. Just sort of big names.
Good choices.
At the same time, it'd be great to sort of jump on and sort of be in the more sort of, we'd be happy to talk with anyone, so,
Put us on a tour with Slipknot, we'll be happy.
Please.
If anyone's touring with Justin Bieber. At least you get
good crowd.
Just don't know how they'd react to you.
I think it's pretty good.
Just make sure there's no bottles of piss thrown at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any plans for festivals this year? I'm talking sort of like any festival from like Bloodstock to more of the sort of like low-key local festivals.
We're doing SWR Festival in Portugal, which is shortly after this tour with Immortal and Hypocrisy, Candlemass.
Oh, that sounds like a good lineup.
It's awesome that one. So look forward to that. We've had some really good shows. I think some of our mates in there was the Trigger that played that one.
Trigger Bloodshed played.
Trigger Bloodshed. Some of our mates in the band.
Super Bowl as well.
So it's awesome festival. So we can't wait for that one.
I'll definitely have to check that one out then.
And Day of Decay as well with Obscura, Silosis, Christian. Sick. And then we're sort of talking with a few other people at the moment, so I'm sure we'll get some more for the summer too.
Do you have any advice for new bands that are just starting out?
Be prepared to put everything into it, because you can't do this unless you're sort of willing to sort of go hell for leather. That's something we've always, from the beginning, we've always wanted to take it seriously and do it properly. But especially when you're talking guys like Flesh God as well, you see sort of what they go through, and obviously the amount of tours that they do and stuff. It's quite a the reality is worlds away from what you might expect from bands on tour, especially if they're on Nuclear Blast or whatever. It's quite gritty.
Last question now. Aside from the festival you mentioned earlier, do you have any plans for the rest of the year?
Play as much as we can.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Just see what turns up. Maybe do Europe again. Love to do that. See what happens, really.
Maybe get some other continents as well.
Wherever we get off, we'll take
a couple other places. Hopefully get away from just UK and Europe, maybe Australia, even US if you can.
In South America, I understand they've got a massive metal scene there, so that'd be a good place if you guys can get that.
I've seen a lot of places like talk to bands into sort of like India and even China and places like that.
We've been starting to get a lot of readers from like recently Korea, which was a shock. Japan, China, South Africa, several of the Northern African countries as well. So
it's really cool. Did a show in Thailand as well. I think it was in Bangkok. Bangkok Death Fest as well. It's just crazy. It's awesome. So fans everywhere. So keen to play anywhere actually. Whatever.
Sounds good. Right, thanks for that, guys. And good luck with the rest of the tour.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.